Hey, hi everybody. I'm Anne with gener8tor. I'm the VP of our National Skills Accelerator program, and I am here with our gener8tor Skills Impact Series. Our program is a workforce development program that supports job seekers and employees by providing skills training in targeted career tracks, as well as job placement support to help participants take the next step in their careers. The program is designed for individuals who have experienced barriers in their professional growth and development, and our program takes a holistic approach to skills training, offering not only technical education, but also personal and professional support needed to succeed. The Skills Accelerator is fast. It's typically just 6 to 10 weeks, and we make it flexible enough to fit into any schedule. Participants learn through asynchronous online modules and then also have live virtual sessions with their dedicated career coach who's with them every step of the way. In this series, I'm going to be talking with our participants, alumni, and community stakeholders to give you an inside look at how our program works, why it's impactful, and the ways it's changing lives every day. And today, I'm really excited to welcome Michelle Schuler from Microsoft as our guest today. I have had the very pleasure of working with Michelle over the last 4 years, but really over the last two in a much closer way. And Michelle, it's been an absolute pleasure not only getting to know you, but learn from you, grow with you, and really kind of like build into the next level of all the programming that we've done. So with that, I would love for you to kind of introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your current position at Microsoft.
Sure. So thanks, Anne. It has been a pleasure of working with gener8tor, not just the 4 years that I've worked with you, but oh my gosh, we've been working together for probably pushing 9 years now. What started as gener8tor on the startup side has then evolved into now gener8tor Skills Accelerator and all the work that you're doing there. And I just want to say thank you first off, and I want to kick this off by saying that because we have had so much fun with your team.
Oh,
So I am with Microsoft, and I lead our Microsoft Techspark initiative. I lead it in Wisconsin, and then I also lead our National Fellows program. And we're a very place-based initiative by Microsoft, and that's what makes this partnership with gener8tor and the Skills Accelerator so exciting. So we work with communities when they think about AI skilling, how they think of adoption, and also innovation. So how do we think of startups in this whole emerging tech space? So thank you.
absolutely. And thank you for bringing up the fact that you've been working with gener8tor for so long, because you're absolutely right. It's been almost 10 years. And kind of, would you mind sharing with us the origin story of how skills came to be?
Oh,
Um,
sure.
okay, it's one of my favorite
So
stories, and you tell it best.
yeah, when you plant a seed, you never know where it's going to grow and or what it's going to grow into. And I want to say start with, I guess, the end. The fact that gener8tor has taken the skills of program nationally is amazing. It started with an idea that came out of COVID on how do we help unemployed and underemployed individuals secure jobs in a time where everything was locked down, everything was remote, and so people needed to find quick ways to learn and secure jobs. And there were tons of jobs open, customer service roles, project management roles, like you name it. And a lot of these were virtual, but people didn't know how to connect with them. So Microsoft opened up what we called our Microsoft Skills Initiative at the time, and it was leveraging our LinkedIn Learning platform. And I contacted Joe and said, Joe, are you willing to partner with me? Could we do something? And he's like, yeah, let's take our Skills Accelerator program or take our startup program and use it for skills. And so here we are today, not only thinking about unemployed and underemployed individuals, but really how do we elevate all employees or all people? And I think the focus that you've had with the Skills Accelerator to help employees has really been an interesting one, especially as AI and emerging tech are hot topics these days.
Absolutely. And to that point, as you mentioned, when you called Joe and you guys decided to start this whole program, it started ultimately with about 19 individuals, I think in the Northeast Wisconsin area. We've since gone to graduate over 3,000 individuals across 25 different regions in the country. A lot of those regions specifically connected through the Microsoft Techspark program. So thank you for also just sharing our program across the country with your colleagues and with a lot of the agencies that you put us in touch with. And as you mentioned, what we'd started with was kind of a program for under and unemployed individuals, because we'll always have that group of population in the job market, and we want to make sure that we're able to provide training that is specific to their needs as well as holistic to them finding success. But over the last couple of years, you've also spearheaded kind of our second iteration of our skills program. So kind of talk to us a little bit about the iteration of the Generative AI for Leaders program and kind of like why Microsoft is invested in workforce development as well as specifically invested in building these AI tools across the entire workforce.
So I'm going to backtrack for 1 second because
Okay.
what was interesting when we originally started the Generator Skills Accelerator is it was private funding in collaboration with a nonprofit. That then, in order to sustain it, turned into almost a public-private collaboration. So, it was great to see even Generator do some braided funding, some braided, even how you executed on the skilling programs with different states and different, different meeting different needs. I think that's the biggest thing. And it really takes that collaboration between, Generator's a private company, Microsoft's a private company, but then braiding in the workforce development boards, braiding in, some of those public funding, state funding, federal funding really is where the sustainability happens. And how do you think about sustaining what works? So when it came to the skilling of employees, thinking again about how do we sustain this? How do we sustain a program that helps employees learn not just today, but moving into the future too? And as needs change, really think about that evolution of change and the needs that individuals have. So, anything from let's say a basic learning to maybe a little more advanced learning with some certifications into use cases within their business. So now you've moved from I'm learning to I'm bringing that learning to my organization, and then hopefully they're even taking that learning into their communities. So I think you've really done an interesting concept, and I don't know if everyone that takes the classes see, one, the behind the scenes of what makes all of this happen, but two, I hope that they're thinking beyond just themselves and how can they help their how can they help their companies be innovative.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing it up. You're absolutely right. Kind of what TechSpark ignited essentially was our ability to then build upon that model. And we have since been able to develop public and private partnerships. We've become an eligible training provider for WIOA funding across the state of Wisconsin, as well as about 11 other states. And we're continuing to move into that. We've had additional private philanthropic funding from different agencies that are interested in workforce. And so to your point, we've had the ability to look at our program and figure out how to always keep it at no cost to the participant. That's been, first and foremost, we want to make sure that we're able to provide this as a service to the individuals that we have. But in order to do that, right, we do need a lot of partners and a lot of behind the scene work to go on in order for us to put this program out there. And as always, Microsoft has been such a fantastic supporter of us and really helped us build and think through those things. And specifically you. So thank you very much for that. We were obviously just in Racine. It seems like a few weeks ago, meeting with county executors there and kind of talking through like how can we together be helpful in terms of like what these communities needs and how we can build the workforce in a way that is organic to the needs that they have, but also sustainable and growing into the needs that they'll ultimately need going forward.
Yeah, and it's so critical. And I think going back to your question on the AI leader skilling and kind of the importance and the thinking around it. I just joined your last cohort for the showcase at the end, and it was so amazing to hear the stories on where they started. I had asked the question in the chat if you would have done this AI project had it not been for the Generator Skills Accelerator. And everyone said no. They said we would not have taken the time to learn. We wouldn't have taken the time to strategize, even if it was individually, to then innovate on our new project. And so that shows me that one, taking time to learn is so important. And work doesn't always allow us to do that or inspire us to do that. And so finding creative ways to do it. And I think that's what that AI leaders cohort is all about. I know that's what we were hoping it would be. And so to hear people say like this has been amazing for me personally just to take this time to do something I wouldn't have. And these were people that were making manufacturing decisions, maybe on the floor. They were marketing executives making decisions, sharing, creating an AI tool where they were then knowledge sharing with other individuals to make their own decisions within the company and see the data they needed to see. So it was really inspiring to see the idea of let's start skilling for employees, all employees, public, private, nonprofit, so that they can be innovative within their companies was actually coming alive.
Yeah, it is. The fruition of kind of seeing what we think is going to happen when we design it together, kind of on paper, if you will, and then actually sitting in those spaces, in those rooms, and seeing it come to life is a really inspiring experience. And so, again, thank you for kind of helping us and for being there to celebrate along the way. What do you think, or why do you think it's important for individuals to not only have digital skills, but also really start to develop AI literacy, kind of outside of our traditional tech hubs? Again, what do you think is the most important about of that, and why do you think that that's important?
So, as Techspark, we really look at like talent is everywhere, but opportunity is not. So, how do we think about not just our hubs, but communities that aren't normally thought of? Because there's so much talent there that we just need to inspire that opportunity in some places. And so that's one just very important piece when we think of geographically how we're thinking about skilling. I would have told you 8 years ago when I started with Microsoft that I wasn't a very technical person. Now you put AI on top of all of that, and you have to look inside at yourself first. What am I doing with AI? We can all pick up our phones and say, "Hey, plan my weekend around the music venues and the bars at this place," and now it'll give you the whole schedule for
Yeah.
the weekend. So that's great. Now, personally, hopefully, people are doing that. Then when you move to productivity, where are the ethics behind and the security behind what I put out on free tools versus what I do on paid tools? And
Mhm.
so having that knowledge too within yourselves in talking with your companies about the practices behind leveraging AI and what tools is the business or education facility making available to you, I think is important. And then you start, when you get to the paid tools, you start realizing, oh my gosh, like I can write better. I can craft my emails in a different way. I can go in Outlook and I can say, hey, where's the last email from? And, set my agenda for this meeting because maybe I haven't talked to this person for a year. So the stuff you can do with production is neat. Then you get to agents, and all of a sudden you get to a whole new world of knowledge sharing.
Yeah.
And, I'll give one example. Brad Smith, Microsoft's president, came to town and he's like, Michelle, I need you to collect all the data over the last year so that we can do A, B, C, and D. So I put together beautiful spreadsheets, a beautiful Word document, a beautiful PowerPoint, and everybody on his team kept coming back to me and asking me questions. So I threw all three of those into an agent and sent it out to them. And I said, ask the agent questions, but before you share anything with our president, make sure you verify the information from me. And I was receiving great documents back that I was like, oh my God, that just took so much time off of me. So
Yeah.
if I'm hoping that people really see that evolution in themselves, starting wherever they are at. So I really think you guys do a nice job of meeting people where they're at and then letting them grow through your program and beyond. And then I'm hoping that other things in the community too help them grow, whether it be learning on their own on Microsoft Learn, going on Copilot Hub to learn. Microsoft Ignite is next week, taking advantage of some of those national and global summits that are happening.
Yeah, and I love the way you're right. It's like we meet people where they are and we walk them along the path to get to the next phases. And especially with AI, to your point, there are a lot of phases. You can just be a user of making a weekend plan, or you can go all the way through to your example where not only did you build out an entire presentation, but then the agent itself can be kind of like your co-pilot, no pun intended, with with answering additional questions or building out like more models or things like that. And so I think that that's one of the things that we even at Generator are starting to look at, just our internal team of kind of like how can we continue to use these tools so that we can make a better experience both for our team itself internally and our program managers who deliver these programs, but then ultimately as well for the end user, so that they can understand how to use these tools, not just in the class itself, but as you're saying, beyond, and then ultimately take it back to their companies and build out different products that their company can use across all people. And so we're really starting to see that. Are there any projects that you have seen over the last several showcases that kind of stand out to you?
Oh, I guess I don't know what I can share and can't share. So I don't think I'm going to answer that one as a whole.
Good
I just
point.
want to
Yes,
say
some of
that,
it is confidential. That is true.
yeah. So I think it's the nature of um, some, how do I want to state this? I think it's the fact that not every project is the same and everybody's using it in different ways. And depending on their maturity, depending what tools their company is paying for or not paying for, I hope it inspires more paid tools. And I think the one thing I would say there is that there's so much advancement happening so fast. It's never too late to learn, but you need to start learning AI and quantum and all the emerging technologies that are coming, but starting with AI and really starting to ask yourselves, what am I doing today? And how can I think differently about this tomorrow? And then what do I do in the meantime? And so seeing, like I talked about building those agents, that literally was obviously my company having the right tool available to me, but me making 3 or 4 clicks, putting the resources in there, and then having this beautiful tool that my entire company could use. And so when you see that in your showcases, it's really amazing on how people started with an idea and then really transformed it into a tool.
I love that. It's the differentiated learning and really being able to dig into kind of like what the person is looking at, but also have an idea of what they're trying to get to in the next phase. Um,
And the chats, people are asking questions and then it was like, oh, we have to move on, but you guys can connect outside. I mean,
yeah.
that it's building this whole network of people that have the same desire to learn, the desire to network, and then to learn from each other. So I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah, that's been one of the most beautiful pieces of the generative AI program, which is slightly different than our traditional program because in our traditional program, right, individuals are working really truly on the individual themselves, their own resume, their own career pathway, the development that they're looking for. Whereas in the generative AI course, each individual is obviously working on their own project potentially for their company, but it sparks conversations across all sorts of things and it sparks conversations with even the two manufacturers we saw, in one of our cohorts, and I'm pretty sure this is not confidential, but in one of our cohorts there were two manufacturers who had done some business together in the past but hadn't really found a very synergistic way of moving forward. And because those two individuals were in our program and they started asking questions to one another, it then sparked their ability to actually work more together because they recognized that, like, oh, we have parts A and B, you have parts C and D. Let's put this together and push it forward. So we are seeing a lot of that networking kind of come naturally through just using the tools, which has been also a side project in a sense of kind of like what we thought would come out of this. So that's been really nice.
I thought it was interesting too. We have what's called the Microsoft Co-Innovation Lab at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. And as I talk with the leaders within the lab, I've said to them, it's great that you have these innovative thinkers within these manufacturing companies coming to work in the lab with you to co-create new AI projects. But what about the rest of their employees? So it's been fun seeing the rest of the employees coming to the Generator Skills Accelerator and taking advantage of not just one pocket of learners or one program, but now two programs within their company. So, as much as we talked about braiding, I think this braiding of how you're being skilled, what you're being skilled on, and how you think of all employees is really interesting.
Awesome. And that kind of leads me into, as we wrap up, our next question is kind of from your perspective, like what does make Generator a unique and strong partner for you in moving this work forward?
I would say anyone listening, just stay being innovative. I mean, you guys, just because you created one program didn't mean you stopped there. You keep innovating with us. And so, Microsoft, as a tech company, we are always moving, sometimes faster than others. And with this new AI economy, how do we help everybody grow? And Generator has really been the backbone and an amazing national partner with us. I mean, you can even think about just this AI leader skilling when we could take that from 200 in a cohort to, or 20 in a cohort to 200. You know, that takes a lot of creativity and a lot of management too, to make that happen. So I just want to say, yeah, thank you to your entire team and for the people that have been along on the journey and the partners that have been along on the journey too, to see that evolution. And it's not just about Microsoft or just about Generator, it's about all of us coming together in new ways to really elevate all people, all companies, in how do we all become more innovative?
Thank you. And yes, that I will say that is one of the skills that Generator has, which is we also never really stop innovating and never stop moving forward and figuring out, tinkering is what I like to call it. We like to tinker and figure out exactly what's happening and what maybe needs to be adjusted, and then also what needs to be created and what could we do new. So in that sense, kind of like, what are you looking forward, just from a Microsoft perspective, from a Michelle perspective, kind of what do you see over the next year or two happening kind of in the AI space?
I see it growing. I mean, diffusion. I think diffusion is a word that we keep hearing, and it's, as it becomes a general purpose tool, just like a calculator in other pieces, how do we help ensure that nobody's left behind?
Yeah.
And it's going to be so critical to think about skilling programs, free programs like Generator, to think about educational programs. So if you kind of think about education, you think about workforce development, as we look at innovation, all those pieces need to come together for any of this to work.
I love that. And I think that's what we do at Generators. We diffuse these skills across a wide range of individuals. And we, really look forward to continuing to do that. So, in our last question of this, kind of what do you hope viewers take away from hearing about our Generator and Microsoft collaboration, but also kind of all the work that you've personally been involved in with Generator skills?
Yeah, thanks for asking that question. I would say number one, talk to Generator. Like talk to you, Anne. I would say, especially for companies wondering like, how do I think about this more broadly across the company? Um, your team is amazing. So I would encourage anybody looking at this for wondering what if I created this program, could I do that in partnership with Generator? I would say number one, if you're looking at it from a partner perspective, that you guys are just you deliver beyond what originally is expected and you continue to innovate along the way. And so to me, that's what makes Generator such a great partner for Microsoft. For those that are looking to learn, of course, share the program, look online and see what states you're in, what programs you're offering, but also be open to talking to others outside that, may not have the program in their community. And how do you bring it to the community and reach out to Generator to learn more? Because it's a big task to help all, but yet it is possible if the whole ecosystem comes together and works together. And you guys are a great partner at that.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much. You've taught us a lot. We are truly emulating all the things that you've shared with us, and we're happy to be a major partner with you and with Microsoft and continuing to build the skilling initiative across who knows after AI what the tools we'll be working with. So thank you very much.
You're
Uh,
welcome. And I will say place-based programming is hard, making sure that we elevate every community along the way and that no communities are left behind. And I mean, our Microsoft mission is how do we empower all people and organizations in communities to thrive? So thank you.
You're so welcome. And as you know, with Generator, our mission also is to be the best partner to a community's local individuals. Basically, like we want to make sure that we are supporting our best and brightest within all of the local communities that we serve. And as you mentioned too, bringing opportunity and access to spaces where it hasn't been traditionally. So, well, thank you all so much for tuning in to this episode of our Skills Impact series. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Michelle. We are really excited that she was here with us today, and we're really grateful for your continued partnership. If you've liked this conversation, please subscribe to our channel and you'll get to see more of these. And also, you can learn more about our program online at gener8tor.com/skills. So, again, Michelle, thank you so much for joining with us. I'm Ann with Generator, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Anne.